This film also had the creepiest Santa. And you could,
oh my god, yes!
I'll pick Andrew Garfield. Peter 3.
Peter 3. Look, I put that on.
Ooh, that comic book filter.
This green ball?
This green tennis ball is Vecna, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Hi, Cinema Peeps.
Hey, Cinema Peeps.
Oh, so another movie that came out this week, I meant to watch it, but I just didn't get around to it, was the Fear Street one also came out this week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh.
Maybe next week,
I still need to watch the other ones again, because I gave up after the... Was it the first one or the second one I gave up after? I can't remember, but I'll have to go back.
I feel it was the first one.
That sounds about right,
I
honestly.
don't think you watched the second one.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I'll have to go back and watch all of them.
Correctly. Yeah, and I would be curious just to see how it connects, or if it's just like a solo story. I mean,
like
it's gotta be a solo story, but...
Must be, yeah.
Where in the timeline I'll be interested in watching, but... That'll be next week.
Yeah.
This week, it's all about The Fountain of Youth, which also came out the same day this past weekend. With John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, random.
Not only it was random, it was like for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, that man, I hope that man got a good paycheck. He had to show up for one scene.
And can I just say, like, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but like, can I just say that, like, his 30 seconds was probably the most important piece of information that was shared in this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were just like, man, two-shotter? Call it a day.
Yeah.
That's all we need, baby.
Yeah, he was like, that's all I got for you. Make her happen.
So good. Okay, so we both were like, we're going to watch The Fountain of Youth because we want to talk about it. Because obviously, I think we expressed an interest earlier on this year. I don't remember if it was on the podcast. I know we had talked about it.
Yeah, but... I don't think it was on the podcast, but you had you had sent me something on Facebook for it.
I did, yes.
And you were like, it looks like a national treasure kind of thing. And I was like, hell yeah, sounds good to me.
And we were really excited, and I don't know about you, but I was like,
Both my mom and I were very curious to know what your reaction was, because her and I were brutally bored through the whole entire thing.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was very, yeah.
It was so sad, because again, like, we've talked about this before. We love like this, like the adventure treasure hunter, you know.
Yep.
I like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
So I really thought this was like a really easy, like, I didn't need it to be the greatest movie.
No.
I just want it to be a fun little kickoff to the summer. We're going on a treasure hunt, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, boring, uninteresting.
Very questionable choices for some things too.
Oh yes. Okay, well,
let's dive in.
Let's get in.
Yeah.
A quick little synopsis of the whole film in case so I'm sorry if you want to see The Fountain of Youth, just go away.
We'll just save you the time, because
that's
honestly,
true.
Your time is valuable and precious, and this is one that I don't think you need to spend your time on.
This
no
is
offense,
true.
no disrespect. We're just, as avid movie lovers, we want to value everybody's time.
That is true.
We care about the story, guys.
We sure do. So we open up with John Krasinski. I already forgot his character name. It could be Dave for all I knew. Luke? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So Luke is chilling on his little Vespa bike, and he has clearly stolen some artwork, so you have some thieves after him. I will say that opening sequence was probably the only part I really enjoyed.
It was, but it went on a little too long for my liking.
I think it's because it like connected onto him going onto a train.
Yeah.
So he did this whole thing where he escapes these guys, but then he's like, oh, I need to get onto this train. And then you meet this other character who, fuck, I already forgot her name.
Charlotte?
Charlotte.
No. Not his sister. Who the other?
No, that's
gal.
his sister. Yeah.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Mystery femme fatale gal.
Mystery femme fatale. She's also like, hey, I want the painting. Yes. And so they have a little scuffle. He goes off the train, and then he's like...
strange, like, hey, how you doing moment. That was odd.
Yes. And don't worry, people, that was a continuing thing every time they meet up after that. It was weird.
It was very weird.
So basically he gets this painting, and now we kind of travel to London, where we see Natalie Portman, or Charlotte, as she's known in the movie.
Yep.
She is not an art curator, but she's a museum curator, sorry. Yeah. And so Luke comes to visit her, and he steals a painting right off the wall, so she has to chase him down to collect this painting, which turns out to be a fake.
Bum, bum, bum.
And so that's how they kind of explain to Charlotte, oh, this is why we were stealing these paintings. They have these markings on the back. Again, very national treasure, secrets, And so she's always kind of like, I'm not going to help you this time. No, absolutely not. And then usually cuts to her helping them.
Yeah.
In the very next scene.
Although I was like, why did you have to knock her out with knockout gas? Like, that was pretty extreme, I think.
Oh, yeah. 100%. But yeah, so you learn that her brother is with their father's old crew, which I also have questions about.
Yeah, they never really dove into that much.
Yeah. I was like, I would like some answers.
They kept repeating that stupid quote of, it's the journey, it's not about the prize. And I'm like,
bro,
okay, we get
it. And I mean, like, the quote itself, yes, I think, it's kind of the same vein of, like, the Miley Cyrus, it's the climb, kind of thing, where it's like, yes, and it's about, like, life is not about getting to the end goal, it's always about the adventures you have along the way, but, oh my god, I've never been, like, he was, like, forcing that down your throat, and I was like, you need to, like, cool it, John Krasinski, like, holy fuck, like,
how much were you getting paid for that line,
Right? And, I mean, I don't know about you, but it actually made me hate his character more and more.
Yeah.
Because it almost came off as disingenuine.
Yeah.
But I think their goal was to make it genuine, but it became so disingenuous. I was like, what is this guy's deal? I don't get it.
Yeah. There was just a lot about his character that I found
okay, good. I'm very glad. I'm very glad.
His wardrobe was strange to me, because he was dressed like Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, but it's modern day time, so I'm like, that was a definitive choice. Like, you chose to dress like this, like in the suspenders and everything. I'm like, hipster-wise, you have a little bow tie, the cute little, like, crushed velvet jacket and everything, or corduroy jacket, whatever it was. Okay, fine, yeah. But then, like, it was like he really committed to this outfit style for, like, modern day. I'm like, really? Okay. Interesting.
That's a choice.
Yeah, that's a choice.
We also meet this guy, I already forgot his name. Tech billionaire Bill Gates? No.
Yeah, tech billionaire Ron Weasley, I was calling him, because he looks like Ron
Weasley. He played Bill Weasley.
That's right. Yes,
movies.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was very hard. I'm sure they said his name a couple times, but I was
like, it started with an O or something.
Weasley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he's gonna be Bill Weasley.
Yeah, Bill Weasley.
That's when he kind of lets in on, again, about these paintings, that they are searching for the Fountain of Youth.
Yes.
So then the good chunk of the film is them getting these paintings, solving the cipher, and then they go all the way to Egypt, where they find the Fountain of Youth. Shit happens, and then roll credits. Literally, like, what a random stop. That was so abrupt. I think the movie was, I think they were done. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even like... they were just like, yeah, we're done. Just roll credits. Like, we don't give two shits. I was like, what the fuck kind of
this felt like that? I don't know. The story kind of felt like it was a let's see what happens as we go kind of thing. Like, it's it wasn't written out and thought out beforehand. It was like, this was the general idea we have. Let's see what happens.
Right? It was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it all, They're going for the Fountain of Youth, and surprise, surprise, the fountain... Not that it's bad, but it's as we... sorry, my brain can't work. Kind of like, it's like me, I watched with, like, my family, and we were constantly making comments. We're like, well, obviously this fountain's evil. Yeah, I also liked how the sun was, when we refer to the sun, we mean Charlotte's son.
Yes.
I like how he was just there to solve all the music puzzles.
Yeah.
That is all his purpose was.
Yeah.
And, happy for him. Happy for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also a weird plot line where Charlotte is getting divorced from her bonehead of a husband.
Yeah.
And he wants to fight custody for him. And then billion tech Bill Weasley, makes him essentially go away by giving him a high-paying job in Japan.
Just randomly. Yeah.
Right. Just so, because her whole stick was like, oh, I can't go because of Owen. Owen's her son. Yeah, Owen's her son.
Yeah.
Maybe? And so, billionaire guy basically was like, oh, well, your husband's now gone. He can now come with us on this journey. And it was like, huh. And again, speaking of John Krasinski's character Luke, I was like, is this guy really this fucking stupid? Because Charlotte was like, hey, I'm getting bad vibes from Bill Weasley. And he was like, nah, he just really likes treasure hunting. So, that combined with him being like, it's about the adventure, not the treasure. I was like, this guy's a bonehead.
Yeah.
What? This guy is nuts. And even, near the, climax of the film where, it's very obvious that this, if the audience doesn't know, we all know that this guy is clearly the villain. He is now defacing Egyptian property. They have so many guns.
Yeah.
And again, Charlotte's like, Luke, I got a bad feeling. And he's just like, he's just too excited to find the treasure. I'm like, are you really this stupid, Luke?
Yeah, literally.
I'm like, I don't get your character at all.
No, not at all.
You're so weird. And they kept having weird dream sequences.
Yeah, what the hell was that all about? I'm like, what is going on?
Extra confusing.
And I guess it made sense in the end, but still, it was no point.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see, they did the whole big epic, thing with him, with the Fountain of Youth, going up with the lightning and everything, and is he gonna drink it? And then all of a sudden, he chose obviously not to, because family was more important than everything in the world he could ever want.
Which, I'll be honest, was surprised to that point, because he was such a bonehead.
Yeah. But then
are you sure about that?
For Bill Weasley to be like, it's my turn now, and it's we have to watch this all over again, God.
We were saying, me and my family were like, because he had shot Luke to entice him to drink.
Yeah.
I was like, so we get to shoot him now? We can at least throw a couple casings in him now. Come on. To make it fair.
I did I don't think it was intentionally meant to look that way, but when they were escaping the Fountain of Youth and everything was closing and you could just see him in the water swirling, I'm like, oh, it's like a toilet bowl. Flush him down.
Bro, I said the exact same fucking thing. I was like, it's a toilet! Whee! That's so funny.
That's funny.
I'm glad we telepathically were just toilet. I was like, let's flush that turd down.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And again, Stanley Tucci's, very important, oh yeah, here's what the fountain does. And I'm like,
you can turn it off.
I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. Again, sorry, the hot femme fatale lady, her and Stanley Tucci, I guess, are a part of some sort of, not organization, but they're guardians, I guess, of this fountain, because they're like, well, humans aren't ready to deal with it. And I'm like, I feel like it has more, the fountain is less good, it's not good. If you have to
with
suck,
great power comes great responsibility, kind of thing.
I guess so, but it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. And they're trying to protect it for humans. I'm like, just destroy it.
Yeah.
What is the point of it? There's no point of having it, because we were, because I think they said the fountain just takes what you love the most. But me and my brother were saying or I think maybe it was just my brother. He was saying oh, maybe it's, in order for you to have eternal life, it has to take,
I think that was the general gist of it, but it was kind of confusing because...
Right, because they just made it seem it just takes what you love. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it was a very convenient thing to be well, the billionaire loves himself, so it self-destructs.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, how convenient.
How convenient.
Right, so that's what we interpreted it as, but it was a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And so again, if the fountain, to make this work, you have to like, the cost is so high. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. Just destroy the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are humans ever going to need it then?
Yeah.
Like, just get rid of that shit.
Right?
You dum-dums. You idiots. Like, why do you still have this? Insane. So yeah, I was just like, Stanley Tucci was just there to be like, lol.
Yeah, but honestly, his scene was probably the most enticing and the most important information, because everything else was just either it's about the journey, it's not about the prize, or I've got a bad feeling about this, but hey, I'm gonna go drink now. Wee! Like, she was constantly drunk.
I mean, maybe that was in Natalie's contract. She was like, look, maybe she read and she was like, absolutely
She's
not.
like, I will only do this movie as long as there's alcohol on set.
Yeah. I mean, good for you, girl. I would too. But yeah, sorry. His dreams were like very weird because, yeah, I guess it was supposed to foreshadow these things. But
it didn't make a lot of sense.
Right, because when I first saw it, it was him taking that golden disc, or I was going to call it a medallion, but it's more like a disc.
Yeah.
And then they kept mentioning how, like, their dad was also like a treasure hunter, or maybe more of an archaeologist. I don't really know. But it sounds like he found that particular treasure, but chose to leave it. So I was like, oh, maybe, you know, by him taking it, he is cursed, and maybe that's why he's trying to get to the Fountain of Youth or something.
Right.
So they kept having that sequence where, like, his eyes were just covered in gold, you know? It's like, he was like, he was possessed by it. So,
yeah.
And then every time he took this treasure, it was like, his dad dies, or, you know, Charlotte and her kid dies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is there something to do with that? Because they don't quite, like, they say he, like, passed away, but it was kind of, like, left inconspicuous, not inconspicuous, but, it was left ambiguous of, like, what actually happened. So I was like, oh, is there something to do with that? But no, I guess it was just to continually foreshadow the fact that the fountain was bad.
Yeah.
Or that treasure is bad.
Yeah.
But, like
I would have been okay with there being even, like, more of a warning from his dad. Like, if he was having dreams of his dad being like, don't do it kind of thing, right? But yeah.
And he does it, and then, but it was just not that.
Yeah.
It was absolutely not that. So I found the dreams very odd.
Very strange, yes.
And not necessary at that point. Because, again, like we said, he was hammering that fucking message home, and, like, I felt like everything he did, I was like, does he love his family? Because, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's kind of a bonehead. Like, I don't know. Like you said, gassing his sister. I'm like, I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
And I'm like, are they? Because it seems like he adopted his dad's old crew, and it seems like they do more criminal-based activities.
Yeah.
But I was unsure if I was like, so was that like what they originally did with like their dad, and like he's kind of made it a little more criminally, you know, esque?
Yeah, he's kind of gone a little too far in the lengths, maybe. Also, speaking of which, when they were in the library looking at the Wicked Bible, I'm like, did you all really need to blow up the floor to get out of there? Couldn't you just walk out the door, you know?
No, Kim,
you had to make it dramatic.
They were having that super awkward sexual tension scene out in the library.
Oh, yeah, and then they left her hanging there. Oh, my God, that was so weird. Oh, my God, ugh, weird.
And he's like, do you think she likes me? And I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah,
like,
huh?
Oh, and again, speaking of gassing a sister, there was a scene on the boat where they're trying to retrieve the actual painting because they stole that forgery.
Yeah.
And the girl has a gun to his sister's head, and he's like, nah. And she's like, excuse me?
Oh, yeah.
And
the weird slow motion thing where she's like, what are you doing?
Right?
And I'm like, why is it in slow motion? What's happening?
So I really get that.
Okay, I didn't. I was like, this is a strange choice.
I think that's just more, because that's like, I feel a Guy Ritchie signature. He likes doing that. Like, if you think of, like, when he did the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yeah, that's true.
He had quite they're not a lot, but he has like one or two of those kinds of sequences.
Yeah.
But I agree it does not make sense for that scene, or for this movie for that matter. Yeah. But, like, it's very much a signature of him. Yeah. So, yeah. So, again, he had... And I can't remember how she escapes. I think the boat rocks or something. Like, it was nothing that Luke did to help save his sister. And she's like, are you serious? And he's like, come on. He wasn't going to shoot her. And I was like, do you not like your family? Like, it's okay if you want to say that. So, again, when they were like, wow, he chose family. I'm like, Yeah, that's not the vibe I got this entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, I just got the vibe he does just use people. So, like, I don't know. And he's a fucking bonehead because he's dumb as bricks.
And I laughed, too, because there's a scene at the end where his crew is, like, trying to defend against the other team, and they're like, you picked the wrong side, or whatever that one guy said, that weird, like, you picked the wrong side line, and then they're both, like, laying on top of each other, hiding, and then that was the last you saw of them for a while, and then, like, the whole rest of the movie was, like, this journey down into the Fountain of Youth, and they did that, and then they finished it, and these two are still in the same position. I'm like, they've just been here the whole time, like, like this. It was quite funny.
What's happening, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just needed more answers about the original crew and their dad.
Yeah.
I
needed
feel
to be more backstory to, like, flesh this out a bit more.
I think, it was definitely needed. And then we had the showdown with, like, the London, or I was going to say London, but I think he was just FBI.
Yeah, that guy was a little maybe too excited to get the role.
He was real excited. It was really funny because, again, it was one of those times where I'm like, I know him from somewhere else. So I was, like, Googling, and I was like, oh, yeah, he was on Elsbeth. I'm like, very cool, very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, as we were describing this, like, I was kind of bored out of my mind somehow. I was very bored. I was falling asleep near the end, but I was like, keep it together, Kaylee! You got this! And again, I think because I really did not like Luke's character, it made it very hard for me to feel invested in this movie.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like Charlotte, too, because I feel like that was a very, that was a really, a very human issue, going through divorce sucks, and, like, trying to start anew, but at the same time, like, raising her son, like, there could have been something really good, but I feel like Luke just yelled at her and was like, you're boring!
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're an idiot!
Yeah.
I, like, for once, like, and again, I'm thinking very, like, Hallmark-esque films, where they have that storyline.
Yeah.
But, like, for once could, like, both characters find the common ground?
Yeah.
To be like, yeah, I would like to be adventurous, but, like, I still have to be an adult and do things.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with stuff on the outside, but I do still want to, like, go and do things, yeah.
Like, there's got to be a trade-off, because it's always just like, you're boring! I'm like, bruh, if life could be adventurous, that'd be great, but I'll be honest, like, I'd be like, you know what, I'm tapped out, I'm going to my couch, I am tired.
My battery is drained.
Right? Like, no adventure for Kaylee today. We're sitting on the couch, you know? But yeah, it really sucked. My brother said he didn't mind. He's like, I had a good time, and I'm like, good for you. Good, all right. Good for you. As long as you had a good time. I think me and my mom were like, nah, this is not good.
Yeah.
I think even at the end was like, well, that was boring. And again, the credit whiplash was incredible. Of like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I felt like I thought there was at least a couple more lines. Like, I don't know, anything. And they were just like, well, I still hate your guts, but we're going to go treasure hunt now. And then they were like, roll credits. And I was like, what? They hadn't even fully left the pyramid. And they were like, here's the credits.
Yeah, literally.
I was like, what? Yeah, I really wanted to like it, but this was not the kickoff to the summer I was hoping for, Kendra.
I know. Well, and me too. I've been, because there was a new season of Outer Banks that I don't know if it came out last year or I just hadn't gotten around to watching it, but I've been watching that on top of that, and the reason I bring it up is because it's also like a treasure hunting type series. Yeah. And the fourth season was okay. I felt it was a little weak, but the first 3 seasons are really good. It gives me very, like, National Treasure legit vibes. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. So going from that to this was like, ugh. Yeah.
And those guys are teenagers.
Yeah.
Well,
supposedly. Well, they play teenagers, but they're definitely not. The one guy I think is, like, our age, I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense.
The main guy, yeah.
That makes sense. But darn, yeah, well, we're not starting off the summer strong, so we got a first stinker. Yeah. That was a stinky film. Stinky. Yeah. I will not be watching it again.
No. I mean, I don't know if I can really give props. I was going to say props to John Krasinski and Natalie Portman, but at this point, I mean, okay, we say this before. It's not just always about, like, it's not the actor's fault. Sometimes it has to do with, you know, certain directing choices, certain editing choices, story choices. It's there's multiple reasons that a film kind of, you know, stinks or it doesn't. So we're not going to put any sole blame on one person, but yeah, this was just a very, very weak film. Very, very lazy, I think, in my opinion.
2 hours and 8 minutes? Like, at least, like, shave half an hour off that shit, you know?
Yeah, and it wasn't even, like, again, I don't know, just my own personal opinion, but the action wasn't anything to write home about. It was just the same type of action that you see in any other movie nowadays. There wasn't really anything like, wow, sweep you off your feet and on an adventure kind of thing. It was just kind of like, eh. And, like, they didn't really do much for puzzles other than, like, those couple of music puzzles. Most of it was done through their computer. And I'm like, man, like, I want to see them figuring out the, like, historic, like, puzzles and stuff. Like, that's what we love about National Treasure. Right?
And, I mean, Natalie Portman, specifically, like, her character Charlotte, like, when they get found by these guardians. They don't really have a name. We're going to call them guardians of the fountain. They, again, have guns pointed at them. And all of a sudden, her character just whips out, like, stunt moves like nobody's business. And I was like, huh? Are we not going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Or are we just supposed to be like, well, they
Suspend
were
disbelief.
adventuring with her dad. So, like, that's how she know. And I'm like, no. I'm like, if she is a museum curator, she is not, like, I can see her going to, like, boxing lessons or some shit. Like, I don't know. But, like, stuff she pulled out, like, again, good job, Natalie. That was great. Like, good work, girl. But, like, for her character, there's no fucking reason for that nonsense. Yeah. No fucking reason. And, again, maybe you think of National Treasure, like, they weren't fighters. They knew. They were like, we have to run. Yeah. We are not fighters. We are the nerds that solve puzzles. We have to run. You know? So, yeah. A lot of weak sauce choices. A lot of weird fucking choices.
Yeah. And the fact that John Krasinski's character and the femme fatale lady end up, like, kissing at the end, and she's like, I'll see you on the neck. I'm like, why?
I was like, don't fucking count on it, girl. There's not gonna be another movie.
If
this gets greenlit for another movie, like, I'm done.
She was probably my favorite character of everyone, other than, well, Stanley Tucci and her were probably my two favorite characters out of everybody in this film. But then when she kissed him, I was like, girl, you lost some points. I would have just like been like, talk to the hand, bye.
Right. Like, I really wanted to like Natalie Portman's character, but her character too, I was just like, you're becoming wishy-washy now.
Yeah.
You're becoming wishy-washy. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Definitely hit it. I'm sorry, John Krasinski. I know you play a very beloved person on The Office, but this was not your role.
This was not a strong moment. No.
No.
I'm sure you worked hard, but it did not shine.
It did not. It did not shine.
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully that's one of the rare stinkers. Maybe this is a good sign. We get the stinker out of the way.
Yep.
And the rest will be smooth sailing. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
I like to think so, but, you know, we got a full, summer. Well, I guess technically, I don't know, if you worked at a movie theaters, the summer has already, blockbusters have started to begin.
Yeah.
So, but, I don't know, we usually do, like, a list of ones we're excited for, but I don't know if we'll do one this year, because I know we looked, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I know we both were just like,
this year.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna just try our best to watch more, movies through the summer. I know, what was it? That new Captain America movie is finally coming on to Disney Plus.
Oh yes.
So
Until Dawn, I believe, is available to purchase on digital, whatever that means.
That
so
means you have to spend like $25 at the get-go.
Okay. So I guess that means it's going to be close to being able to rent soon.
That is true. So we'll try to watch some other stuff. I know we've talked in the past maybe doing like retro summer blockbusters and rewatching some of them. Because Twister came out last year and I never watched that one, and I meant to watch, we'll do back-to-back Twisters. So
yes.
we'll see. We'll see how the summer goes. We're still hoping for the best. Oh yeah, the new Superman movie, coming out in July.
Yep.
So we got a couple things here and there. So we'll hope for the best. But yeah, Fountain of Youth gets as many thumbs down, infinitely possible. I'm sorry, Guy Ritchie. Hopefully you do better next time.
Yeah.
Same with everybody else. I hope for better things for you guys. Something that, actually really utilizes all your skills.
Yeah, exactly.
It just wasn't this film.
Yeah. Nope.
It just was not this film.
It wasn't you. It was the film.
That's a good line. That's a good line. But I think that'll do it for today's episode.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we cleaned house.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done like a solo movie review. It's been a hot minute.
It has, yes.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed us talking about it. I did not enjoy the film.
No, we did have a lot to talk about, so that I was interested. I'm like, ooh, if we both don't like it, are we gonna have a lot to talk about for it? But we did have a lot to say, so that's good.
Girl, we did. We really did. We really did. We did not like that movie. We did not like that movie. Excuse me. Well, anyway, Cinema Peeps, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey. And slow.